Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dark Souls 3. So, yeah, I'm not looking so good, especially with my hollowed out face, but I have a new hat that fits the marine set quite well, which I think I will be running for the next little bit. As I want to experiment with a few other sets of armor and whatnot. Let's see here. So, we are now level 48, 20 strength, 20 dex. That allows us to use the Farron greatsword effectively. And I've been mostly working on using the S-stock, and I powered up a mace for when we delve into the area below the Abyss Watcher's bonfire. And I also went and grabbed the Brigard twin daggers. So, and then armor-wise, oh, the set that I was thinking of was the Drakeblood Knights, which I believe is what is actually the interior black armor of this, of the Fallen set. But anyways, so let's see here. Let's go first to the Road of Sacrifices and go deal with something that I skipped over because I wanted to progress further on. We'll do that, then we'll go back to the Crucifixion Woods and deal with the boss that's there, and then move farther onwards in that direction. And then, so, yeah, gotta say, I've been, playing with the S-stock for quite a bit recently, and man oh man, while the damage at this point isn't all that superb, especially compared to, I think in Dark 2 it actually does a bit more damage than it does in this one, but it's the moveset and the staggerability of people using it. Because if you just keep tapping R1, you can essentially stun lock people quite effectively. Alright, so what I skipped over is actually over here, which is where the Brigard twin daggers are, and it's this character. This is our new man-eater Mildred. And the butcher's knife in this game is actually, as I remember, it's pretty good. Yeah, A scaling 24 strength requirement, and its sharpen ability gives you HP restore on landed hits. So, yeah, quite effective. We're gonna run past everyone who's here. Pop there for a sec. And continue down on our journey. Dum-da-dum. So I must say I've encountered, from my farming attempts, there's a new thing that I stumbled upon, which is people in this location. If you lay your summon sign nearby this bonfire in hopes of being summoned for an assist for the boss, excuse me, what actually happens is people will summon you in, have a friend of theirs invade, and then use you as a farming material for Covenant items. I also learned about that the stock actually has a unique kick attack. While most weapons, if you push up and R1 with them, you'll do, like, well, not with this, but say, if I grab Fire Longsword, I'll do a kick. But with the S-Stock, you actually do a backwards defasive thrust. It's kind of effective, but I also find it quite annoying, as I kind of just at points want to do a kick. So, yes. So, the Crystal Sage. What I would call as just the better version of Pinwheel. Because, as you can see, he generates a whole bunch of copies. The reason I say better version of Pinwheel is that, like, while Pinwheel's copies were kind of cool, they couldn't hurt you. These ones can. Now, I'm not exactly sure the importance. Ow. And there we go. So yeah, he's just not very strong. Well, I'm also pretty powerful at this point. How many souls will that be? Oh, okay, 8K. So let's take a look at his soul. The twin crystal sages once served as spiritual guides to the scholars of the Grand Archives, and one went to ally with the Undead Legion. Now, it's also very apparent that they are some sort of student of Master Logan. And judging by their large sorcery hats. Now, how exactly that worked is somewhat of a mystery to me. Did Logan found a... Or... Well... Once again, there's the ever-present thing of Soul's time frames and whatnot are convoluted. But it's the question of, how was this guild of crystal sages formed? Was it formed out of respect to Logan or something like that? The Herald's armor. Because it probably wouldn't have been formed by Logan himself, since the ending to Logan's questline in Dark 1 is that he goes mad trying to research the aspects of crystal magic. So here we have a fallen knight. Sir, please. You utter fool. How sad. Paladin's Ashes. I think that gets you a bunch of healing materials. So the actual big annoying NPC of this area is this guy. Because this guy will parry you. Or more accurately, he will break your guard with that kick. But he gives you the spider shield. And the spider shield, wow, it's not even that good in this game. Like, it has lots of stability, but it's only an 80 block. That's quite depressing, whereas in Dark Souls 1 it was at least a 100 block, I think. So, sad days for the brigand. Sad days indeed. That's once again why the knight is such a good starter, because that knight's shield, 100 and also decent fire. Well, that was an interesting sound. I don't know if that'll be carried over on the recording or not, but that crossbow bolt made a cool noise going past me. Alright. Cathedral of the Deep. So these immolation guys remind me a lot of the guys in Dark Souls 2 that run up to you and explode and knock you down. There's a shard. Nothing here? Okay. Can't remember what they're called, but there's a whole bunch of them outside of, what's his name? Strayed. Okay, so this guy here, we're not going to interact with, because this is the guy for the first DLC, and he might be involved in the second DLC in some form, from what the sort of collector's edition or Game of the Year edition of the box looks to be. So, we will not be speaking with him anytime soon, as I plan to do the DLC much later on. So, alright, we got 26k. That should get us some levels. Okay. Health. That's all we can afford.
Farewell, Ashen One.
And then...
Ah. Gracious. Passing fine ash thou'st given. Let this ash bestow nourishment. I only hope these new wares can...
Alright, so what does this give us? Gives us the toxic prevention moss. Adds the crescent axe. The canvas talisman. So the sage's big hat. An enormous hat that completely obscures the face belonged to twin grus known as the Crystal Sages. The pair are said to be successors to the great sage Logan, and this big hat is a symbol of their pedigree. Okay. So it's a status symbol. It is. Not only are we the best, we are cool enough to wear a hat that resembles Big Hat Logan's. I see.
Ashen One.
Very interesting indeed. Alright, Andre.
What?
Reinforce me. Thank you kindly. And let's carry on. Because I want to get through Cathedral of the Deep as fast as possible. Because this is... I think this and the Catacombs was solely responsible for killing my first playthrough. Because... while I will say... Cathedral...
Merciful goddess, mother of the forlorn, who please bear witness to our resolve. Fire for Ariandel. Fire for... and the ash.
Yes, thank you. While the visual design of this area is actually pretty cool, and we'll get to see a little more of it as we go on. This area has some annoying properties. Hello, you silly hollows. There's no point in fighting any of them because they just respawn. That's all they do. They're in there. They're here to be annoyances and in the way. What we want is this. Anything else? No. Be gone. I think there's something over down here. So as you can see, even from the get-go of this initial piece here, this place is somewhat maze-like. There it is. Here's the good stuff. Fading Soul and the Executioner's Greatsword. Get out of my way. So, and don't get me wrong, maze-like patterns can make a game very interesting because it harkens back to the feeling of, oh, thank God for a dead end. And that's something that Souls, especially the first game, did very well. Where, treading through Undeadburg for the first time, you were very perplexed as to where the hell to go or what to do. Come down here, shall you? Come, my friends, to this white birch. Come along, then. Go on, Giant. You've got targets to hit, so hit them. Thank you. There we go. Excellent work, my friend. Some repair powder. Large soul. Undead bone shard. And that's the other thing, is that in this place there are maggots, and if the maggots get on you, they stay on you for forever until you encounter a either a bonfire or a torch, which I have neither of. That will help us get back up. But inevitably we die due to leeches. What I don't get is they're affected by fire. So why the pyromancy flame just doesn't work? Why I can't just use it to get rid of my leech problem. But who knows? Oh, but if you're hit by a fire object, such as a fire projectile, they're removed. How interesting. Actually, quite useful. So, already you can see this place in how it's constructed and how you're moving about everything is similar to Anor Londo, which is not, again, bad, because Anor Londo is quite a good area, but it just means that this place is going to be slightly confusing and going to have... I'm not a big fan of areas where the biggest enemy is the ground and gravity. These guys are back. You fucking pricks. What I will give it is that these enemies are actually kind of tough. Because they deal a lot of damage, and their movement patterns are actually a little hard to predict. Hey boys. The one thing about them is you can just let them kill themselves. So once again, we get yet another feeling of an Orlando. We have giant gates into the true cathedral. Now, I will give this place is immaculate design. Like, how long they must have spent doing all these little textures and whatnot is incredible. And you can tell that you can maneuver through a lot of this area. So I have to give them credit for that. But it just gives me a headache looking at it, because I know I'm going to have to traverse through it impeccably to find all the little hidden pieces and whatnot. And this place also harkens back to a system of using shortcuts to help the design of your level, where your level can actually be quite difficult in particular sections and whatnot, as long as you have a way of returning back to a nice home base of sorts. So again, well done.